one of us. And she said that within the next few months, not thousands or lakhs, but lives will be lost in crores. Crores of lives will be lost in India. And in the article that we saw later published, it says on Saturday, officials reported nearly 350,000 new infections, and the deaths continue to rise. At one hospital in New Delhi, the capital, doctor said 20 patients in critical care unit had died after oxygen pressure dropped. The doctors blamed the deaths on the city's acute oxygen shortage. The next slide, please. Yes, thank you. So here we have another article that is also talking about the death toll, and it says that India posts highest death toll in pandemic so far. Really, we are seeing so many underreported deaths, and that's the crime of the whole thing. Because today, as we look back, who is being held accountable for the lives that are lost, which are not even counted? But there's so much of suffering that is going on. There's so much of loss that people are feeling. People whose family members had died, whose neighbors had died, whose mothers, fathers, relatives had literally died in the worst way possible. And yet that suffering is not recognized even in a simple number report or count. How can this be justified? And who is being held accountable? India reported the coronavirus pandemic highest single daily death toll on Wednesday, which was 4,529, with the virus raging through the country's rural regions. The previous deadliest day for a single country was the United States, recorded in the United States in January, where 4,468 people died. Many reports believe in the number of deaths in India are even higher but underreported. And evidence has emerged across the country of large number of deaths of people dying and from COVID-19 who have been officially counted. This is actually from the New York Times, which this article is quoting. We can go on to the next slide, Mo. As you can see here, the devastation of COVID-19 in even the quarries, the cemeteries, and the burial grounds is absolutely unsubstantiated, meaning it was absolutely shocking. We heard the stories of all of the people, of the workers from the cremation grounds, the business, the leaders of the cremation grounds who own these grounds and are seeing so many hundreds of bodies and bodies lining up. This actually shows that 2 and 2 don't match up. Something doesn't quite add up here. While on one side, the media is talking about a very low death rate and not that many people being saved, the cremation grounds, the evidence that is happening there shows even a backlog in the number of deaths that is being reported, and it shows even a backlog in the number of bodies that they have to cremate. Yes, as you can see, more visuals. These are from the devastating cremation grounds in India. The next slide. Yes, and this was revealed by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who had revealed to us, all devotees and disciples, whoever listens to me, whom I don't need to convince, this is a personal message I am giving to you. Devi has very clearly revealed to me, in the Purattasi month, August and September, there's going to be the worst kind of third wave of Corona. So that's just coming up right now as we are ending July. The next slide, please. I saw in the vision dead bodies thickly floating on Ganga. Not just Ganga alone, there are 4 rivers coming from Kailasa, Ganga, Yamuna, Brahmaputra. In all those rivers, I saw dead bodies are floating. Dogs eating those dead bodies and dying because they ate Corona people. And the poor people who don't have any food, those dogs' dead bodies, and they are dying. I saw this whole cycle. I am not a constipated conspiracy theorist or positive thinking buffet. I see reality as it is, and I'm revealing it to you all as it is. And within just few months, we saw the articles and the evidence of how in India, on the riverbank of Ganga, there was so many different dead bodies. And here we have one of the articles that is showing this, where behind bodies found in riverbanks, a COVID shadow. Interviews with the next of kin, officials, eyewitnesses, and local residents in Unan and Gharipur revealed that behind bodies in long-held traditions, deep economic distress and sudden rush to lay the dead to rest. Here we are seeing how bodies are coming in scores, unclaimed, uncounted, and unidentified. Here we have India's holiest river, Ganges, is swollen with victims. Another really horrifying truth that is going on, a reality that is happening. Hundreds of corpses have been found floating in the river or buried in the sand of its banks. The next slide, please. Yes, we can go on to the next slide. So I request if we can now project the slide on immunity. So in this next segment, we'll be understanding even what Devi Parashakti recently had revealed, and we'll be understanding how she had revealed about the immunosuppression qualities and properties of COVID-19, and how after that we saw that literally scientists were recognizing that this was happening. Okay, we can have the slide share projected. So we can stay on this. The truth is that Devi Parashakti ultimately had revealed how millions and millions of people whose deaths are absolutely uncounted and nobody is being held responsible. Unfortunately, Devi Parashakti had even revealed that COVID is airborne, that people can contract the disease simply from the air. Here it says how, yes, we can go on. The Devi Parashakti said that even kids will be attacked the most, and they'll be very vulnerable during this time. So yes, she said that the next wave is attacking the kids more. That is what is happening, and that is what is terrorizing and frightening. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism revealed, I cannot reveal more details. India's richest state was at the center of the second wave. Now it's preparing for a third wave. This is an article from CNBC, and this is on India's second wave, now preparing for a third wave. And here we have a lot of numbers. The western state of Maharashtra has so far reported more than 5.4 million cases, including 82,000 deaths from COVID-19, and some predict a third wave, which could hit India potentially between September and October. The next slide, please. And the truth is that we have to ensure we do not lower the guards. We prepare for the inevitable third wave. And here in so many articles are also saying, even though it is being anticipated that coronavirus cases could peak in mid-June in the city, experts have been warning against lowering the guards, as they say that the third wave of COVID-19 wave looks inevitable by October end. Not only that, but experts have further said that the third wave should be deadlier than the first two waves. And Maharashtra preps the third wave as COVID has we saw 8,000 children in one district being affected. Here we have, with more than 8,000 children catching the coronavirus in the month of May in Maharashtra's Ahmednagar, the state has started taking extra steps to minimize the effect and impact of a possible third wave of COVID-19 that may. In Maharashtra's Sangli city, a COVID-19 ward is being prepared especially for children, and currently 5 children are being treated here, and the facility is being prepared for more patients. And here we have another article saying the third wave of COVID-19 to impact children. Over 9,000 children test positive in Maharashtra. And again, with the fears of the second wave of COVID-19 still lingering, and now, at least in the current days, we are seeing one wave stopping, maybe settling down, but we are seeing so many warnings of the third wave coming. The experts have suggested that the third wave will severely impact children. If the virus changes its course of nature, the children will be largely impacted. Reports suggest that the virus has already impacted the children across the country in the second wave. Yes. So Devi Parashakti has literally given us the warning. And not only that, however, she has given us the protection. Devi Parashakti has ensured to protect all of her devotees. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has actually opened the Kailasa COVID care centers in India, from Adi Kailasa Sarvagnapitam as well as 12 other Adinams in India. And this is in order to protect anyone who is seeking protection at this time. And in just a few minutes after the next segment, we will be understanding from the administrators of Adi Kailasa Sarvagnapitam themselves the updates from the Kailasa COVID Care Center in India. And also now we'll be going into the next segment of today's program. And in this next segment, we'll be understanding the offerings that you can make to Devi Parashakti. After we understood how each individual can ask a question, ask for healing blessings or anything, and then how Devi Parashakti has guided the whole humanity and given her protection, her most compassionate protection to anyone. Now, after that, Devi Parashakti has literally opened up so many different ways that we can immediately and instantly attain oneness in our lives. Now, I request if the offering slides can be projected, offerings to Devi Parashakti. So yes, while we get that sorted out, in the Hindu tradition, offerings are a way that you can experience the intimate, most beautiful oneness with the divine. So in this next segment, we'll be understanding the offerings you can make to Devi Parashakti. We'll be right back with you after a very quick break. Yes, completing with all the viewers for that technical difficulty. Now, let us enter into this next segment in today's program, the offerings that you can make to Devi Parashakti. Now, in the Hindu tradition, Whether it is our birthdays, our anniversaries, our marriages, or if we're starting school for the first time, or if we're starting a business for the first time, whatever it is, we always are conducting or inviting the divine presence of the of God and goddesses, our Ishtadevata, our favorite deities, into our lives. We request for their guidance. We give gratitude for the amount of guidance they have given so far in our lives and helped us, protected us, helped us every single step of the way. And we have also then we also ask and request, humbly pray for guidance in the rest of our lives, in the next step or the new adventure, the new venture that we are taking up. That's one of the beautiful things about Sanatana Hindu Dharma, that it is like literally practicing the presence of God in your life. And that is what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving as the science of enlightenment. Now, through the ritualistic sevas that you can offer today, you can literally invite the divine into your life in a more intense, more immediate way, where literally they just start manifesting whatever you want, however you want it. Now, let's just understand the significance of offering. Offering is a giving of a divine gift, pure love, devotion, and oneness, and it consists of two parts. One is giving, and the second is accepting. Only when the divine accepts what one offers, the offerings become complete. Offering is not made out of fear or out of greed. Avatar lands, the offerings are purely a part of the grand Leela played out for the purpose of enlightenment. Yes. Now, before we're entering into this segment, I would like to chant the Dhyana Shloka of Manonmani, the very beautiful, compassionate form of Devi Parashakti, the loving form of Devi Parashakti, who's sitting on the lap of Paramashiva. Induniva Veda Karavahinayanam Syat Pankajavaraಭಯ Japakshasarayuktam Angahimabhushana Vichitravasanam Syat Tungamukatojjvala Manonmani Swarupam. And the English translation next. Moonlight face holding the Vedas on hand and fire in eyes, with a lotus flower gracing and blessing hands in one hand with the japamala, beautifully decorated with jeweled ornaments and wonderful clothes and shining bright crown. Her name is Manonmani. Yes, and the next Dhyana Shloka. ध्याये देवीं त्रिनेत्रां शशिनभवदनां वेदहस्तां ददानां सव्ये पद्मं वरदमपरे चाभयं चाक्षमालां दिव्यैराभरणनिर्विभूषिततनुं ब्रह्मादिभिः देवीमेव मनोन्मनीं प्रतिदिनं कामात्रदात्रीं शुभाम्. And the English translation. I meditate on Devi with 3 eyes glowing like the moon and holding the Vedas, lotus and gracing with blessing and gracing hands. She is wearing beautiful ornaments and she is worshipped by Brahma and other many gods and showers auspicious blends, boons and blessings for all actions every day. Now, having invited the beautiful, graceful presence of Devi Parashakti here today, now we can enter into the next segment, enter into understanding the different offerings that we are making available today. Today we have so many exquisite, exciting offerings that you can make with so much of beautiful, sacred sentiment. In this day and age, as we have so many different kinds of sentiment, whether it's suffering or we have happiness and bliss, or we have the sentiments of feelings towards one another, There is nothing compared to the sacred sentiments, the powerful cognitions which help you manifest power in your life, help you go beyond even the limitations that you would never have even thought of, all kinds of impossibilities, and live a life of absolute possibility. The Vedic tradition provides the science of exactly doing this. And the science of rituals is a carefully crafted, beautifully delivered practice of literally living this science of enlightenment, living the science of practicing the presence of God. And one of the fundamentals, now what we're doing is first we'd like to create the foundation so we can understand why we are doing these offerings and what is actually needed in these offerings and how they can actually manifest what you want in your life. Now, in the significance of the divine element gold, this is a part of the fundamentals that we have to understand before we go into the rest of the offerings that are made. Now, in the Atharva Veda is one of the four of the Chatur Vedas, and one of the four Vedas that are actually one of the primordial scripts that is known to humankind. The Rig Veda has actually the oldest reference that is surviving today is at least more than 1,000 years old, making it the oldest scripture which is known to humankind. So the Chatur Veda are extremely old and significant scriptures that guide us to the life that we started out with, the life of the original Hindu civilization. In one of these Vedas, the Atharva Veda, lies the significance of the element of gold. Now, I'll just be reading out the translation for us today. It says that triply born by birth is this gold. From the atoms of Agni is one, it becomes dearest to Agni. One fell away from the Soma when it was hurt. One they call the seed of virtuous and powerful Apaha, the watery molecules. Who sees the vibration of gold has the power to infuse sattva energy and positive thought currents. And one they call the seed of virtuous and powerful Apaha, let that triple gold be for your long life. Now, many of us already understand that gold has a lot of value in our society. We know this because the economy just supports this as a fact. But there's something more than what society has told us thus far. Gold actually has super powers, literally super conscious powers, where beyond what we know with the economic currency or any value that we add to it, there's so much more than what is happening, or the gold itself as we know. Gold is a divine element. It purifies anything it touches, and it is an element of spiritual significance and great spiritual power of healing and enlightening. The vibration of gold has the power to infuse sattva energy and positive thought currents in anyone who wears and anyone who sees or operates in its vicinity. Gold is present in all the scriptures, the Agamas, Vedas, Shrutis, Smritis, Itihasas, and Puranas. In all Hindu scriptures, it is abundantly displayed that gold is the most auspicious and purest metal which purifies. In the Hindu civilization, everything was built in gold, exchanged in gold, and ritual feasts were offered in gold bricks. When one was to be saved from life-threatening illnesses, gold was offered as a ritual fee. Gold was in abundance and used for weighing equivalent amounts of commodities, including cows. And kingdoms were built with huge doors of gold. The streets would have huge columns and huge archways made of gold, and horses and cows were dressed in gold. Now, if you see, all the living beings lived in coexistence, in beautiful, blissful coexistence in the Hindu civilization. And each one was dressed and adorned in gold because we saw the beautiful potential of gold in Sanatana Hindu Dharma. Yes, and the Hindu civilization ultimately thrived on the banks of rivers of gold. In the Rig Veda, the Indus River was called the Hiranyamaya, and in the Atharva Veda, the river Saraswati was called the Hiranyavardhani. Gold is the supreme element for offering gifts to the ones you love and revere. And temples are constructed and paved in gold. Deities are made in gold and decked in gold and adorned in gold. It preserves the enlightenment energy for thousands of years. It lasts forever. Now let us enter into the array of offerings that we have. Exquisite, beautiful offerings that each and every one of you can offer today. Once again, this is a beautiful process of experiencing immediate results, experiencing immediate oneness in your life and beautiful connection with the divine. Especially now that we are in the presence of the divine and we are connecting directly to the Nijavatar, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who is manifesting all these beautiful deities and energies, cosmic energies in our lives. It is ultimately the most powerful time to be able to connect to the divine cosmic being. So let us start with the E-Hundi offering. Now, this offering is a beautiful way that you can remove all fears inside of you, everything that is going on inside of you, which is not Paramashiva, which is not the ultimate. Simply drop it at the feet of Devi Parashakti today. Drop it at her feet and experience the true oneness. Now, can we go back to the previous slide, please? Devi Parashakti in the Lalita Sahasranama is described in such a beautiful way. How she is actually going through and how she literally accepts all the fears, all of the karma that you are dropping at her feet. She removes that and just makes it disappear. Amazing way, amazing, beautiful sacred sentiment. Everything that we feel is a burden, everything that we feel is karma, everything that we feel is pain inside of us, we just drop it. It's the feet of Devi Parashakti. Now, can we go back to the E-Hundi first slide? Now, I just like to chant the verse on yes, I just like to chant this verse. Bhakti Priya, Bhakti Gamya, Bhakti Vashya Paha, Shambhavi Sharadharadhya, Sharvani Sharmadayini. Devi is fond of true devotion and she is the remover of all fears. The next slide, please. Yes, we can go on to the next slide. So yes, and Devi is very much known to be worshipped more so in autumn. Now, this does not mean the yearly autumn or the seasonal autumn that we ourselves experience, like fall, when all of the leaves fall off the trees. That's not what we're talking about here. In autumn of our lives in general, that's when our thoughts are turning more and more inward. That's when we are experiencing more and more introspection in our lives and trying to answer the existential questions that really pain us and pull us into so much of inner speculation. The role of the divine at this time is absolutely known and understood clearly. That is when the need for the worship of Devi becomes so much stronger. Now, you can offer this E-Hundi offering for any amount of money, and it's such a simple offering that you can do. And you can do right away. You can do through the YouTube super chat, or you can do through the registration forms. If you have a couple of questions on these and how to pay and how to make the donation that you'd like to make today, then you can you can just wait until this end of this segment, and we'll be proceeding further with how to exactly make these names. Yes, we can go on to the next slide. Yes. So the next offering that we have available for each and every one of you to make today is the Sankalpa chanting. In Sanatana Hindu Dharma, the Sankalpa is a Vedic chant which has such deep significance. In fact, it invokes all the energies, all the good energies of love, bliss, all the auspicious qualities inside of you. It requests the divine to remove all the different inauspicious qualities and help us transcend each and every one of those, including fears, greed, everything that might be stopping us. We request in this prayer to remove that and help us during this time, and help bless us for the ultimate prayers. Now, in the Devi Mahatmyam, chapter 12, verse 34, the verse for this beautiful chant, there I'll just be chanting the English translation. The goddess enchants this universe, and she herself gives birth to this universe. That goddess, being prayed without interest in anything, gives the knowledge that leads to salvation and gives wealth in the materialistic sense. Once again, this is from the Devi Mahatmyam, chapter 12, verse 34. Yes, the Sankalpa chanting is such a beautiful way that you can just simply offer the Sankalpa. Your name will be chanted along with the Sankalpa, and it will be offered in your name to the divine. The next offering we have here, as you can see, is the Sahasranama Swara. And this is another beautiful offering. And let me just explain that this is the offering of more than 1,008 names of Devi Parashakti, and it's a very special and unique archana offered to Mahameru of Devi Parashakti. And actually, it is very special because it is the offering of the gold coin inscribed with 1,008 names of Devi Parashakti. Now, in the chant, in the Lalita Sahasranama, verse 731, Devi Parashakti is described as Nama Parayana Prita, she who likes repetition of her various names. And this is the offering of 1,008 names of Devi Parashakti in a ode that she likes. Why she likes it is actually very significant. Ultimately, in order to invoke that same energy inside of us, invoke that beautiful energy inside of us, Devi Parashakti guides us to chant the names of these beautiful Ananta Kalyana Guna and invoke that energy inside of us. That is actually what is happening during this Sahasranama Archana. And every time we offer the different names of Devi Parashakti, we are literally invoking that energy inside of us. So you can offer this very exquisite offering, the gold coin inscribed with each of the 1,008 names at the feet of Devi Parashakti. And each of these are the divine qualities of Devi Parashakti. Yes, the next offering is the Mukta Anguti. Now, many of you, I'm sure you would relate. If you know that your mother really likes pearls, then of course, when it comes around to her birthday, or when you want to please her, when you feel like you want to express your gratitude to your mother, like on Mother's Day, you will obviously go out and get a gift of pearls, a pearl set or a pearl necklace or a pearl earrings, pearl bracelet because you know that she likes it, and that's the only reason why you want to give it to her. In the same way, we know that Devi Parashakti is adorned with pearls. And actually, she has, even if she doesn't express it or doesn't tell you specifically, she has the beautiful adoration of pearls. Devi Meenakshi is actually described in the Meenakshi Pancharatnam, and I'll just be chanting that verse, as being adorned with garlands of pearls. So I'll just be chanting that verse and then we'll understand the significance of this offering. Muktaharanala Kirita Ruchiram Purnendu Bhakta Prabham Shinjannu Purikinkini Manidharam Padma Prabhava Suram Sarvabhita Palapradam Girisutam Vani Rama Sevitam Meenakshi Pranatosmi Santatamaham Karunyavaram Nidhim. The English translation. I bow down to the goddess Meenakshi, whose crown has garlands of pearls and paste shining like a full moon, who wears anklets that are studded with gemstones and has small bells, who is shining like the splendor of a lotus, who grants all wishes, the daughter of the mountain, who is worshipped by goddess Vani and Rama. I remain ever bowing to the goddess Meenakshi, the ocean of compassion. This is a beautiful invocation of Devi Meenakshi, where she is literally described here as whose crown has garlands of pearls. Devi Meenakshi is the incarnation of Devi Parashakti, who came down and has literally manifested all of the different beautiful items and all of even Kailasa she manifested on planet Earth. In fact, Devi Parashakti, as she manifested, is the form of Devi Meenakshi. She had literally united all of the 56 deshas. At that point in human history, all the humans, human civilization was living as independent human tribes across the world. But Devi Parashakti had literally united all the 56 deshas and ruled it under one rule. Now, Devi Parashakti has then manifested Kailasa itself on planet Earth with the establishment of Madurai, the kingdom of Madurai. Just like how Devi Parashakti literally had such beautiful ambition and powerful ambition to manifest Kailasa itself on planet Earth, with this offering of the Mukta Anguti, you can have the blessings of Devi Parashakti in any of your endeavors, the new ventures that you are about to take in this time. Yes, we can go on to the next slide. Yes, we can go on now. The next offering is the Swarna Padma Pushpa, the golden lotus. Now, in the Kamikagama, the verse is described as all the kalashas that should be worn around with suitable thread and covered with new cloth. They should be adorned with lotus flower made of gold. Now, this actually shows us the significance of the Swarna Padma Pushpa. The next slide, please. So actually, there are hundreds of references of the scriptural references for the using the lotus flower and the worship of Paramashiva. Almost everything in the worship of the ultimate involves a consecration of deities, of worship, or meditating on, or the mudras and asanas that are used during the worship and involves the lotus flower, the lotus leaf, the lotus pericarp, and the lotus petals. So actually, the lotus is actually considered a divine flower. It is literally seen as a divine flower. That is why it's used so much, and it is associated so much in all of the Vedic scriptures, the Vedic arts, and everything. In fact, of course, you've seen in the Vedic tradition and culture, the lotus is in so many different ways. It is so it is used and referred upon in so many different scriptures. And you can see in Vedic arts as well. If you see any of the dresses or any of the arts, the paintings, the beautiful paintings, or even the architecture, lotus is in fact probably used the most. So why it is considered a divine flower? Because of its beautiful context. In even the most adverse situations, even in muddy waters, in polluted waters, even in just a little bit, just a few inches of water, the lotus blooms and it has divine radiance and resilience despite of its environment. That is the beauty of a lotus, that no matter where it is growing, no matter if it is in the pond or in the polluted waters, it still blooms and it still has that elegance, that grace, that beauty. That is why the lotus is associated with Devi Parashakti herself, because even in the midst of wars, even in the midst of even from the earth, from the mud, Devi Parashakti can be born. There are hundreds of descriptions just like this. Even in so much of war and so much of suffering, Devi Parashakti can manifest, and she will not just manifest, she will be the most elegant, most radiant, most resilient being who is manifested. Now, the Shakti of Paramashiva is also called the lotus. The base of the Paramashiva linga is also the lotus. And even the disciple who is about to bloom is also considered as a lotus. So you can offer this beautiful Swarna Padma Pushpa in order to have the blessings from Devi Parashakti to ultimately radiate that space, radiate the state, space, powers, and being of Devi in your inner space amidst any and every adverse situation in your life. Yes. The next offering is the Swarna Metti. I'll just be chanting first the Pramana. Nakhadiditi samchana namajjana tamoguna padadvaya prabhajala parakrita saroruha. You whose brightness from toenails destroys the darkness of ignorance from the minds of your devotees who prostrate at your feet. You whose brightness from your 2 feet overpowers that of the lotus flower. Next slide, please. So in the Hindu tradition, even the married women wear the golden toe ring. And that is a representation of actually the Hindu sacred sentiment, where all of the different, all of the women of the world are considered as Devi Parashakti herself, are worshipped as Devi Parashakti herself. And it is all coming back down to this verse, actually, where we are seeing how it's described that literally the toenails of Devi Parashakti have the power to simply remove your incompletions or your pains or your sufferings, all of the ignorance that you have. And simply, that is how it happened. That is the quality of Devi Parashakti. It is not, you don't need even her whole foot. You can just have the grace of just one toenail, and all of your sufferings are completely gone. And that is why we adorn her toes with the Swarna Metti. That is such a beautiful thing. How in the Vedic tradition, when we see the significance of a certain object, or we see the significance, it is always brought out and applied in every aspect of our life. Just how gold significance, and we saw the spiritual qualities. That's why all men were made of gold in the Hindu tradition, because we saw the significance of Devi Parashakti's, literally her very toenails. Every single woman is worshipped, revered, and adorned with that gold, that toe ring. And in the Hindu tradition, upon marriage, every woman has that toe ring. That is how the Hindu tradition literally reveres women so much. So this offering of the Swarna Metti is an offering to Devi Parashakti, adorning her sacred feet, to be in constant gratitude for receiving her blessings even in the most difficult aspects of our life. The next slide, please. Yes. The next offering is the Swarna Mangtika, the golden hairline jewelry. Another very beautiful, very significant offering that you can make. And it actually refers back to one of the verses where Devi Parashakti is described as Shuddha Sarabhi Varshani, meaning she who makes the nectar flow in all our nerves from the Sahasrara, and she who gives the very pleasant experience of the ultimate. Now, the Mangtika represents the nectar flowing from the Sahasrara Chakra, which is fully open. And the Sahasrara Chakra is represented by the 1,000-petaled lotus. The 1,000-petaled lotus is sitting at the very crown of our head. And when that opens, the nectar which is coming from it and oozing, causing us to experience so much of bliss, that is what is represented by the Mangtika. And the Sahasrara Chakra is literally representative of the huge amount of nervous center we have in the crown of our head, which is, of course, the brain. So that is why it's called this 1,000-petaled lotus. And